You Chair Wilcox, we should be live and good to go.
Okay, thank you. So good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call the Sustainability Committee meeting to order on Thursday, March 26th at 1:06 p.m. First, we'll do the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the township of Cabot is located on the Treaty 20 Niitsitapi territory and the traditional territory of the Niitsitapi Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to First Nations for their care for and teachings about these lands. May we honor these teachings. And next up, we'll look for a mover and a seconder for a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Ryan, seconded by Amanda, and then we have to recorded vote this afternoon. And Mark will.
Yes, we do. Mike Ryan?
Yep.
Amanda Newell?
Yep.
Sorry, hold on a second. Michael Cole?
Yep.
Deputy Mayor Huntley?
Yes.
Chair Wilcox?
Yes.
Mary Preston?
Yes.
And I don't think I missed everybody. That is carried.
Yes, thank you, Mark. Do we have any disclosure Q&A interest? Seeing none. The next item is looking for a mover and a seconder for the approval of the minutes from our meeting held on January 29th. Thank you.
I have an issue with those.
You do?
I was there, says I was absent. I
Oh.
don't know if that
Fair
matters.
enough.
I noticed that. It was wonderful.
I'm pretty sure I was there.
Yeah, don't worry. That is a mea culpa on my part.
Okay.
I will fix that. So we'll approve the minute as amended would be the clerk's recommendation.
So we're looking for a mover and a seconder to approve minutes as amended. Moved by Amanda, thank you, seconded by Mike, and I can do the recorded vote.
Excellent. Chair Wilcox?
Yes.
Mary Preston?
Yeah.
Mike Ryan?
Yes.
Michael Cole?
Yes.
Amanda Newell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley?
Yes.
So that is carried.
Thank you. And then moving on to 6, I believe Kyle will give us a verbal financial report.
Do you have anything, do we have anything for that to follow up?
No.
Go back and get it, so just verbally then, we've secured, the Wormery, Turtle Guardians for the event, and we have put the money down for pollinator pass, so that's all we've spent to date.
Okay.
After today, I will be securing all the rain barrels that will be delivered the day before the event, so we're using up that money, and that is where we're at the moment.
Okay, so just for the committee, the Turtle Guardians, the fee was $350 for them to attend. And then the little warmery was something that Lisa found. It's a lady out of Peterborough and she does worm composting. So she's gonna bring that as kind of a complimentary kids activity. And that was $150.
They had to play with worms?
I mean, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I haven't got it yet, but I'm starting just to sell the tracking sheet for this, because this is a new item that we're gonna do. We're gonna start doing these financial reports, so we'll have that as we go. So next meeting, I'll have
Okay.
all presenting.
Thank you. So that means that we would have about $1,500 left in our Earth Day budget, taking off the Turtle Guardians and the Warmery. Okay, that's good. That's for communications. Great, thank you. Do I need a motion to approve? No.
No, you don't.
Okay,
Not for the financial report. It's just for information.
okay.
You still need to receive it though, don't you?
If it's the clerk's advice that you don't need a report, but if the committee wants to.
I can make a vote if we don't need to.
Yeah.
Let's just skip over, so we'll do general business, and Matt Wilkinson from the planning department is here to give us an overview on that. Welcome.
Thanks. You need to vote, man.
So thank you very much. My name is Matt Wilkinson. I'm a planner here at the township. I've been here for about 3 years now. About a month or so ago, we presented a new draft woodland management bylaw to council for their information. One of the recommendations they had was to come to committees such as this, so that you guys could have sort of a one-on-one or ask specific questions. Maybe you could provide some commentary back to us so that when we go back to council, we can incorporate a bunch of ideas that we get from different people in the communities. So I'm not an ecologist, but I do have a undergrad in environmental science. I did study environmental policy. I worked at M&R developing policy for protected areas. I worked for about 6 years with economy conservation, where I did tech work, I did planning with them. So I do have gone through multiples of things of ecologies. So this is one of the things when I first got here, it was sort of handed to me. I've been doing a number of years of research into what other jurisdictions have been doing in terms of their tree protections, what their bylaws look like, and this is a building off of what staff at Cavan have done previously and incorporating some of the good ideas and lessons learned from other groups. So hopefully it's supposed to be a well-rounded, comprehensive, not a preservation tool, but something that balances rural and agricultural life with being able to support the woodlands in Cavan. So we're gonna go through why we're here, a little bit of the intentions and the goals. I'm gonna talk a lot about which trees apply and which ones don't, going back to that, you know, why a rural community might want to protect the trees and woodlands and specifically. Touch on how the bylaw works, the cost of a permit, what happens if you do cut trees without a permit, and you catch any woodlands on it, what you need to know. And a few next steps that will come back to me and some discussion questions for the group that we may or may not have time to go through. So why are we here? Like I said, the township is seeking feedback on a draft woodland bylaw. So currently we don't have any regulations to enforce the directives or to guide the cutting of trees, even in our most sensitive areas. So we do have a policy in place that looks at municipal trees and trees on township lands. But we don't have, and we have policies in official plan policies, but we don't have any regulations, which means that we don't have any teeth to, if somebody does something, we can guide them, we can correct them, but we can't do anything. If they say no, we'd have nothing to go back on. So we need a regulation and bylaw in place. So as I mentioned before, we took a draft version of this to council. And so this bylaw is seeking to promote reforestation and promote the idea of forest management plans to support healthy growth of woodlands by permitting approved tree cutting in sensitive areas. So it's called the Woodland Management Bylaw as opposed to a tree cutting bylaw or anything like that, because we're really looking at promoting the idea of managing those woodlots. We're not going after single trees, we're going after how do we get folks to buy into the big woodlot that's on their property, that those are ecosystems unto themselves, they are connected to bigger ecosystems, and those need to be, they're healthiest if they're managed well. So that's selective cutting, that's protecting the undergrowth, allowing air to get in underneath them. And that's not done by preservation, it's done by managing them. So the bylaw intention, a lot of policies in there, they are to implement the strategic plan. So last March, Cavan voted in a strategic plan, which has a number of priorities in place that we'll get to later, and buying into our official plan policies that right now we have. Great, but we don't have any teeth. So this is to implement those. As I mentioned, protecting significant woodlands while allowing certain trees. So again, going after the big things, not looking after the small things. One of the key parts of this is regulating clear cutting. So we've defined clear cutting as anything in a swath that's more than 0.2 hectares or about half an acre. So if, again, we don't want to see what other jurisdictions, a lot of their big pressure, they felt that developers will move into an area, want to start building, so they'll clear the trees first and then come in for their building or their planning approvals and finally their building permits. So having this in place ahead of that would protect us. So right now we're vulnerable to those. We haven't had any of that happen to date, but more and more jurisdictions are increasing for things like this. Also protects significant community trees. Cavan doesn't have any community trees, but we do have the ability through heritage bylaws to designate heritage trees. So if there's special forest areas, special areas, single trees, you can go through a process to get those, and that's why it passed would protect those. Goals of the bylaw, I have touched on these before, but just to enhance, we're looking after where it comes from, so we have strategic plan policies, we have official plan policies, which call on enhancing reforestation, protecting those trees in the most sensitive areas, and really looking after regulating clear cutting. So the trees that apply. Permit is not required for the injuring and destroying of trees. So in the bylaw, there's section 4, it actually has 29 different things that are in there. So these are the highlights of them that most people, 2/3 of them apply to government or in other, restricted areas. Things that are listed in section 135 of the Municipal Act, that's things like the Conservation Authority, Hydro One, surveyors, there's a long list that go along with that. But again, so what we're looking for here is, if you don't need a permit if you're outside a sensitive natural area. I have a map later on, but basically, if you're in an area that has been identified as a significant woodland, a significant wetland, if you're part of a connected forest, then that's sort of the first thing. So there's another slide on here where we talk about, if you were to come into the office, are my trees protected? So we'll maybe leave that there. A diameter of less than 15 centimeters. At this point, I'll remind everyone that these numbers are up for discussion. So hopefully part of the feedback that I get from the community is sort of like, hang on a second, 15 is way too big, is way too, or what is 15 centimeters, or how are we measuring it? So that's what I brought this login for. So this was an ash tree that was in my backyard a few years ago. And for those of you, what we can see online. So we're looking at the circumference, right? That's around, so not the diameter, because then this would be a 19-inch or 19 centimeter. So if you're out in the forest or you're out in your backyard, you want to know, just grab, this is just a cord that was sitting on my desk. Simply wrap it around. Measure it. You can buy diameter breast height tapes. There's special forestry tapes. But for the rest of us, you just grab a shoelace, a string, cord, measure it out. And from there, we're gonna measure this. And then there's handy conversion charts that you can get online, which I toyed with putting into the bylaw as a separate here. So that comes out at 29 inches or 74 centimeters. And if you convert that, I did it earlier, it's about 17 centimeters. So this tree is 17 centimeters long, is around, and it would require a permit if it were in a natural area, and if it were part of a cluster of 5 or more trees. So a single tree, not that we encourage cutting of single trees, but selective cutting of single trees is okay. It's not gonna hurt the forest. But when we get into 5 or more, that's an official plan policy number, but again, up for discussion. So if we have 5 of these in an area and you want to cut them down in a protected area that's of this size in a cluster, now we need a permit.
Matt, what's considered an area?
A cluster?
Man,
So we don't have it defined anywhere, but our working definition is if the canopies are touching or would touch if they're out there. So if you have a tree over there and a tree over there, probably not a cluster. But if you're, if they work in tandem with each other
Mhm.
and you want to cut down that area, again, up for discussion, but that's our working definition right now.
Come on,
Ultimately, it's
that
gonna be Kyle in the field, it's gonna go out there, probably the 2 of us go out there and say, yeah, we think this is a cluster, no, we don't think it's a cluster. So. Any other questions on what does count? Because this is sort of the tricky part for people to guess, to get at.
I actually have several comments at home that I thought I could perhaps email you this, because it's a bit long. I just had a lot of questions. I thought I would spare the committee from me going through them all, and I also forgot my notes. So I apologize.
No, like, if you have, I'm guessing the sustainability committee can decide whether or not they want to supply comments. If you as individuals want to supply comments, that's perfect too.
Yeah, no, I got a question
Yeah.
about the cluster.
Yep.
Does cluster of trees have to, do they all have to meet the requirements of no less than 15 centimeters, or? What defines a tree in a cluster? Can it be, a little sapling, because that's technically a tree, but,
Yeah,
what defines a tree in a cluster of trees?
so it would have to be over, right now, as it's written, it would have to be over that 15 centimeters in a cluster.
Mhm.
The one thing, the only time we don't look at size is if we're getting into clear cutting.
Mhm.
So that by that, we do it by area, because typically we're going in as an enforcement piece to say, you cut down this area, we have no idea how many trees, therefore we're going to assume.
Yep.
Average area, or they're gonna do some studies.
Mhm.
But no, so if you have a dead tree or an invasive tree that happens to be over that size, then those wouldn't count either. It can, sorry, go ahead.
Is your question like, do all 5 trees have to meet that threshold?
Exactly, like what defines a
Yeah.
tree in a cluster, right? Like,
Like if you got 3 of them that meet
yeah,
that size, but 2 don't?
Yeah.
Still cluster, is that kind of the question?
yes, exactly, yeah,
No, if they
Okay.
wouldn't count.
Yeah.
And again, we're going back to, we're not out looking for every tree or every 5 trees or every 6 trees. It's really looking at how do we protect the connectivity between areas, how do we protect the core forest?
Mhm.
So I'm imagining, the back of your backyard, you have a tree line and you cut down a row of trees. Realistically, that's not gonna have a great impact on the greater forest. When you get into 15, 20, 50 trees, now we're getting into, now we're doing that.
No, I understand the spirit of the law,
Yeah.
but when it comes to the application of it, right, people are always gonna have these kinds of questions, right, as to what defines a tree in a cluster of trees, how big is a cluster, right, like,
It's gonna be a boots on the ground assessment.
Yeah.
It may require additional studies, like if there is disagreement, if Kyle and I go out and you say to you, we think this is a cluster, you say, no, we don't.
Mhm.
Say, okay, you may need professional opinion on that. So
Mhm.
we do that fairly regularly now.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest parts, I know you spent a lot of time on. Going back, also, and then come in the morning and go, actually, that part doesn't read right, because blah, blah, blah. So
Mhm.
a lot of these. Where most people's questions are gonna be site specific, like take the, you're allowed to cut them down for use for, wood burning, okay, well. A lot of people ask the question, well, what if they cut all this down and they're gonna have like 70 cords of wood out of it, is that still really for their own personal use? So that's gonna be a judgment call, we're going to go, we know typically what if, like I burn wood, we know what. We're gonna usually see, so if we see this massive clearing, and they're like, oh no.
Mhm.
That's for wood burning for the next 20 years, well, we know that's not gonna be practical, so there's gonna be a lot of judgment calls on site, like Matt said, that's the tricky part of it.
You might want to do a little preamble in the law that kind of defines the overarching, like the spirit of the law, right, which is to protect clusters of ecosystems, things like that, because that, I mean, God forbid if it ever comes to court, judges look at, or whoever is reviewing it, they look at the interpreted context, right? So they will look at something like a preamble, which is to protect, connected ecosystems, for example, right? So they can look to that when they consider these definitions, and, I hope that never happens, because it's a colossal waste of everybody's resources, but, people have fought over less.
Yeah,
I believe that the definitions are upfront in the bylaw.
yeah, so we do define what a tree
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
And then sort of it does, but no, I like your preamble idea, definitely.
Um,
There's no consideration.
Then, Matt, one question if I may, you started out with this initially. So a sensitive area, I did see the map.
Mhm.
But this would not apply to developers, like say, for example, the trees that were just cut down in Fallis, on the east side of Fallis. All those big old, I don't know what type of tree they were, but they're all gone. So would this cover that if those had been, say, heritage trees?
So I had my answer, and you threw in heritage trees. So as a heritage tree, no, they would have to go through. They'd have to be protected under Heritage Act, so that would be a different thing.
Yes.
So. without looking at a map, I'm not certain, I'm fairly certain those trees were outside of a protected area. I believe it's to the south and to the east of the Wallace line
Yeah.
right away. So part of this, if you go through a planning application, then you can have, so, okay, if we have.
You don't
no.
have to answer me right now, you're not.
No, that's fine. So if we have a plan of subdivision, as we do there, so they provide, you know, they're gonna say, no one can see what I'm drawing, this is my own sake.
Yeah.
So we see that they identify, as part of all subdivisions, you have to do environmental impact study. They're going to identify where those woodlands and other the areas are. If they say, we need to cut these down, we say, that's fine, but we're gonna cut these down, but we're gonna plant more over here. So tricky part with you, with what your example is that that's in the municipal right of way.
Yeah.
So that actually falls under the municipal,
Yeah,
so that's under municipal and stuff,
Okay.
so you're exempt from that ones. So multiple different layers. And none of it's easy, but the
Yeah.
easy answer is. Well, in that case, no, they wouldn't.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we had of, like, say, 5 years ago, had the ability to apply to have them be heritage trees,
Mhm.
what would happen if the developer said I need to cut them down?
I don't think you'd be able to. I haven't gone through to. To make things not right,
Yeah.
but we wouldn't, my guess would be in a right of way, we wouldn't.
Okay, yeah.
Right
That's
now.
my point, it's just because there's, you know, you see all these beautiful trees getting cut down, and you're like, oh my god. And I think this is really helpful education to understand the process that goes into that.
Mhm.
But then as a resident who cares about trees, it's like, how can we, looking forward, try to put in some protection for our big, what I call them heritage trees, because they are, you know, probably over 100 years old. And so how do we kind of retain some of these old trees within our settlement area, like the area that's being developed? Is, I think, the question that's circling in my mind is, and I understand that this is intended to be as well for personal property management as well, but just thinking about how do we, as a community, look forward to, we know we're gonna have a lot of development. How do we kind of see if we can retain some of these old trees? So that's my question to you, is there a way to do that? To try to not just have a bunch of little baby trees in the development area, because it's gonna take them years and years and years to grow up to what is now gone.
If they survive.
It's almost the opposite bylaw, to be honest,
Yeah,
because there's a tree preservation bylaw. In a lot, not here, but
Yeah.
in several other municipalities. I've seen it I know I've seen it in Toronto where they're actually doing, you know, infilling, where they're, you know, working on a building in between buildings. And they put giant fences up around a tree to protect it from all the maneuverability of equipment, right? So it's the opposite of this bylaw kind of,
No, you're
which we
right.
aren't there yet.
no,
I heard heritage and that was kind of the,
You're around slap heritage stickers on all the trees.
Get a crew together.
no, there's an application, it goes to council, they decide,
okay,
yeah, there's a.
I've never-
20-page
never seen
guide.
one.
No, there's a 20-page guide on how to create, or, you know, the criteria that goes
Okay.
into making a heritage, a tree, a
Okay.
heritage
Mhm.
tree. Community areas, so like, I don't know, if there's special trees at the fairgrounds,
right,
that
Mhm.
could possibly count.
okay.
But yeah, just old growth
Hmm,
is not part of this,
okay,
but all comments are welcome. Questions on clusters or sizes? Yep.
I have a question also sort of about the naturally sensitive area.
Mhm.
If if an average citizen's like, I want to clear a few trees from my own land, they look at this as first point, how are they gonna know if it's?
You can call us,
Okay.
so, yeah, so. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Okay, well, Yeah, just to pick off this list, part of normal farm practice, so any agricultural use you wanna, tree lines encroaching on your field, you wanna expand your field, there's trees growing up in your field. You can cut those down if it's defined under normal farm practice. Part of the forest management plan, so you have a large wood lot, you wanna manage it, you go out, you find a professional, you create a plan for you, and then we work that plan. That's great, we wanna see more of that. Special note for everyone, there's good tax incentives to have a forest management plan on your property. So that is sort of the easiest way to. You present us with one of those and we're good. And as Kyle mentioned, for normal use, which is the easiest way to think about it, is for firewood. And yeah, there's a bunch of issues going around with that, but we definitely.
Sorry, Matt.
Yeah.
Under normal farm practices, like if I say I have 100 acres and 5 of it, I've been a forest for a decade or two. And I decide, well, maybe I'm gonna start farming that. So I'm gonna clear cut it to farm it. Like, is that a normal farm practice?
Yeah. So you have a hobby farm, well, if you're farming it,
Yeah,
so again, this is the big pressure that other jurisdictions are telling me this, so. You're you, and you have 5 acres, but you tell me you wanna farm it.
Mhm.
Okay, great, go farm it, and then it sits there being fallow, so you clear the trees, and you're like, yep, I'm gonna get to my farm next year. But next year comes a subdivision application.
Mhm.
So now you didn't clear those trees for farming, you cleared it for a subdivision.
right.
So there are a handful of court cases right now pending, things like that.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Not that I was gonna clear
It's
my
a,
property for a
it's
subdivision,
a,
but.
no, but you, yeah, farm practices. You have to show that you do.
Mhm.
Are we gonna go back in time and go after that? It's gonna be tough. I'll admit, it's tough everywhere.
Right.
So there's jurisdictions, they are increasing their fines for things like that. So they can go back in time and say, you told us you were gonna do something, you went against that. And then they have to go to court and figure it out.
Gotcha. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying.
The map, okay, so the sensitive area, so right now this is schedule B of the official plan. So this is sort of the colorful way to say overall in cabins, or if you're in a natural sensitive area, then your trees would apply. So that would be loosely looking at this is the green and the brown. If you're in a white or a yellow, or you're in the urban settlement, then the trees wouldn't apply. So both are kind of a big, depends on which side of the fence you're on. I think it's a pretty even split. But realistically, as mentioned, so if you want to cut down trees for a reason on your property, then you would give us a call and we would go through the process that we do on a daily basis.
So I guess to Leslie's original question, then those trees wouldn't count anyway, because you'd be considered urban settlement.
Not necessarily. So I mentioned, yes, if you're in that Millbrook area, then you're in the settlement, but I sort of meant like all the pink. So just being in the settlement area doesn't necessarily count. You can have connected, or you can have significant woodland in a settlement area.
Ooh, you're gonna have to be more clear than that, because I'd look at that and say, oh, I'm in the gray, I'm fine, right?
Yes, but the end, I mean, this is just for illustrative purposes.
Mhm.
So then if we were to look at a GIS map, we would have a much clearer detail.
Why not pull
So we
the,
can,
I would pull the urban settlement right off the map then and just leave it for the,
all comments are welcome.
there's a comment for you.
Okay.
Right, because if what you're saying is that if there's a protected area within the urban settlement, then it's still valid.
Mhm.
So what role does an urban settlement play in this map?
Role does an urban settlement play in this map?
It's just literally to show where the town lines are. It doesn't mean that the law does or does not apply.
But if you want to
With
include
information.
settlement areas,
Yeah, I agree with Ryan that it's very confusing, and I think to be clear, what you're saying then is if anyone wants to cut down a tree or do tree work, they always have to call you? Because you couldn't figure out from there whether your trees apply or not, if you're in the urban settlement, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I think I,
And that's gonna be challenging, because I know as someone who is surrounded by trees, I think in last year, when I spent tens of $1,000s on tree work, you know, you're gonna get a lot of calls. So why not make it very clear, you know?
Says see schedule something under Millbrook. What does that mean? What does it show more detail?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think
So-
Jess also has a comment.
Am I allowed to turn around my computer and show the GIS clear mark?
Yes, you are.
I think, and Matt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think maybe that picture is misleading. So this is what the GIS looks like for the Millbrook area, for that part that's graded on this particular schedule.
So there is,
So these green parts are what would be considered the naturally sensitive area.
Hmm.
And this is a resource that is available online for residents to go to, and they can plug in their property address and turn on the layers. The county website has really helpful links to bring people through that, so if they feel that they're very technologically adept, they can go and have a look for themselves.
Mary, just because you can't see this, what Jess was showing is, that there are, environmentally sensitive areas within the natural settlement area that we're seeing on this clip here. On the
Right.
So I think perhaps my take is, and that's why I asked my initial question is, within the settlement area, we do have properties that would qualify as being environmentally
Mhm.
sensitive. So, does the bylaw reference the Millbrook settlement area? Like, it doesn't specifically say, no. So I think this is just maybe
it's a
for,
very high level
Yeah.
Mhm.
of saying, here's what can and cannot.
But I think
not
what we're
is
saying-
or isn't.
right, so I think what we're saying is there can be trees that exist that fit this criteria within the settlement area. The settlement area does not exclude
Mhm.
the woodland management bylaw.
I think it's said slightly differently. I think I would just point people to the GIS.
Yeah.
Right.
If we get-
Forget this map.
If we get approval, there's gonna be communications on this, how it's
Isn't this-
supposed to say, so people can help
Yeah.
themselves.
It's just a slideshow to
Yeah.
explain things to us, right? It's not an official
Right, there'll be a
piece of information that's gonna be part of the bylaw.
Good feedback.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
so my
please.
feedback would be like within the presentation when you come back, is refer constantly to GIS, not to these side maps, right?
Okay.
As it will be the most up to date and what will be used.
Could we try and see the settlement area included?
I think the settlement area is
In
irrelevant.
the bylaw,
Yeah, no.
No,
everything.
I think we're saying everything within the township should be.
Treated as the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exclude the map.
Yeah.
Or the image of the
I
map.
think the map's just confusing.
Yeah, the map's confusing.
Just get rid of the map and everything will be fine.
Done.
Yeah, we'll still need to provide means for other people to get that information.
Yeah,
We get all the time that I don't use a computer.
Oh.
I'm using your pretty DGIS,
Here's our paper map.
yeah,
so we still need.
Oh, yeah, I would end up printing a paper
Yeah.
copy out there.
yeah.
Okay,
I think we can zip through the other ones that we talked about, normal farm practices, so that's that
Mhm.
definition of it there. Can you cut for firewood? Yes. And there's a quick definition of what own use means in bylaws. Which we apply, we talked about that, so here's how the bylaw works. We skipped another one, Mark, there we go. So. We talked about, you're gonna get a lot of phone calls. As much as I don't want to add an extra burden to people when they're trying to do things to them, but at the same time. I'm anticipating that a lot of tree cutting is for a development reason. You wanna create an addition to your, you want a different garage, you wanna expand your house or something like that. If you just wanna make your yard bigger, I think that'll be the lesser, but I have been wrong before and will continue to be. But So we created this flow chart as a way mostly for us to say, okay, what are we looking at and why? And to sort of walk through people when they call us, and like, so you would start and say you'd call. So right now, we have a land use inquiry form on the website, so if you want to do any development, that first step is filling out that form. It comes to my desk and Jess's desk, and we answer people, you know, like multiple inquiries a day. Hi, I want to do this thing, can I do it? So if this bylaw gets passed, I would say this is gonna be another one. I wanna cut trees on my property. Can I do that? So they would call, we would review them. First question is, you know, are you inside a sensitive area? So it doesn't talk about, are you in Schedule B, are you in Schedule B1? Just says, are you in a map sensitive area? So we look for the green, we look for the brown, but on our GIS, it comes up a little bit differently. So if you're outside that, then you can cut. Like if bylaw doesn't apply. And we move through them, so is this for normal farm practice? Are you cutting more than 4 trees? Are those trees, oh, that's on the next one. Are they clustered together? Then we go through, you know, are you clear cutting? Okay, hang on a second, let's talk about clear cutting, we'll put that on the back burner now. So then we say, are they less than 15 centimeters around? Say, I don't know, and they, okay, take a piece of string and tell me how long it is, and we'll do the conversion together. Why are you cutting them down? You know, are you using for firewood? Are they invasive species? And at this point, if we're still in the yes, there's probably gonna be a site visit. Just to say like, okay, we're doing this thing, why are we doing it? So at that point, we're probably going out and looking. I'll back up another step. So right now if you're in a natural, we have zones and designated for natural linkage and natural fort. If you want to have development in those areas, and include tree cutting, that means you need to do an environmental impact study. That environmental impact study can be scoped from me going out and saying yes to a full year EIS. So I do already go out and look at trees and how, you know, is this part of it? Is this part of the cluster, or is this part of the connective forest? Is it a dead or dying tree? Is it an invasive tree? And then I can basically write my own. So we offer that service already, so this isn't a big deal to go out and do these site visits for this reason, especially if it's part of development. Again, if you're doing it because you want your yard bigger, that's a sort of a different question. It goes to the why. Yeah. Going back to the clear cutting. So we talked before about it having more stringent conditions. So again, if you're considered clear cutting, you're now going to put in an actual application to clear cut and tell us what's going on, why you're doing it. And that then has to go to council and get council's approval for I'll issue a permit. So there's a few more steps in there. And hopefully the idea is that we limit how much clear cutting goes on.
This flow chart reads it all there, it's all in one, it's not
Yeah.
side by side like that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
My only comment on this flow chart is maybe it's my dyslexia kicking in, but cutting permitted and cutting permit are way too close together. Like I would be saying cutting allowed or something like that. Cause I read it, I was reading, you know,
Oh, yeah, I can see.
cutting
Yeah, cutting.
is permitted.
Permitted,
Oh.
right, I got you.
Yeah.
I've never seen that,
Right.
we've probably read this 10 times.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Cutting allowed's good.
Yeah. Cause like, wait a second, if it's invasive, why is there cutting permitted?
Permitted, yeah. Can I see it? Permitted.
So
Okay, okay.
if someone does apply for a permit to clear cut.
Yeah.
What are the criteria to approve or disapprove of the clear cut?
So basically, there isn't an approval, like there is no like magic yes. So the idea is we're doing this for a reason. If you just want to do it because you want a giant lawn, then no, we're not going to permit that. Or, you know, you're gonna have to like, I don't know what that conversation looks like, but right now we don't have which is why it has to go through special criteria. So then you'd have to go through an environmental impact study, you'd have to say what those trees are, how much, why they're not special, like why would we consider allowing clear cutting of this area? They would have to justify it. And then that report would come to me, I'd make a recommendation, we take that to council, and just like, yes, no, maybe.
So if there are situations where. So clear cutting is permitted on agricultural lands because it's considered normal farm practices. I would assume, which you probably are too, correct me if I'm wrong, that generally the usual reason would be for development. I mean, if it's not agricultural, most people don't want to clear cut unless they want to develop.
Right.
I'm trying to think of the circumstances, like, there are people who want a huge lawn. I get that, no, I don't get it, but I know that happens. So I'm just trying to imagine the circumstances in which somebody would request a permit. And then what would cause the township to decline? It's just gonna be an interesting process. There's a lot of
Yeah.
Through a few.
details to work out, yeah.
Yep.
Mhm. So the over, oh, you go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Well, I
No.
just had a question about clear cut, just,
End.
are you talking only about clear cut? Because now I'm confused, because if you have 5 trees, but you want to take down 1, you need a permit?
No, more than 5, but we were just talking about specifically clear cutting.
Oh, okay, sorry, just wanted to clarify that, thanks.
Just going through that side column of what requires a little more, review and justification. So again, we would have our plan policies, the bylaw, and say like, why should I be allowed to cut an acre of forest?
Mhm.
Yeah, we've had a couple scenarios where like
Yeah.
a farmer, their son ended up buying the next property to it.
Mhm. Right.
And that just allowed them, like, they would be able to continue on there, but it's all been tree because they never farmed that. So I had recently, just last year, I think, contacted me to say, what do I have to do anything if I were to clear this swamp of trees to farm, to be able to farm that?
But that would just be considered normal farm practices.
Could be, we go into is zone for that zone agricultural too, there's some nuance to
Yeah.
that, but that might be a scenario where you get that, where you're adding that on, that's not for development. And again, we know most of the townships, so again, we went in to take a look at the site, we know most of the farmers, is this the farmer that's been here forever, he's legitimately telling us, no, this area used to be wet, it's not anymore, I'd like to take that down. Or have we already heard that there's maybe some planning interest in
Yeah.
development interest in this property, we're probably gonna know that ahead of time,
Mhm.
might not always, but. Again, we're gonna have a good feel for when we go to take a look at this, is this legit, is this what they actually wanna do, does it make sense, what is it?
And I just have a comment about that legally. It seems to me a little risky for the township to just base things on our feel and judgment-ish. And that's just me from a kind of my background,
80% of bylaw enforcement, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just thinking, as you're creating this bylaw, can you make sure things are clear and at least parameters that reduce that? Because, the feeling part is, I think, what sort of sparked my interest in what you're talking about.
Yes.
We feel that farmer is okay. It kind of opens things up for potential allegations of favoritism or nepotism. I'm just warning you of being cautious about that.
Not being in our world, I totally get it, we put as much parameters around everything as we possibly can. We take things to council when those parameters get changed, but based on, this has came to council a couple of times, and we haven't got anything, so right now, we've got nothing in place, so we try to put as much of that, and it's a good comment. We try to put as much of that in place as we possibly can. But to also get this approved, there's nuance to all this, everywhere, like Matt said, has challenges with this. So you do have to use those, that's part of training to be in this position, you have to use your judgment on. A lot of these bylaws, you're not gonna get a bylaw that perfectly fits into every box, so a lot of this is judgment. There's liability in everything we do municipally, so total fair comment, but that's something that we always think of, and we try to tighten them up as much as we can, you just can't see for every instance, and you gotta use your best judgment.
And you also,
Oh, for sure. I just meant more in terms of using language that doesn't
The la-
open you up.
be in the bylaw.
He's talking amongst charts.
Telling you, boots on the ground, what's actually going to transpire. But
Yeah, if you wanna see the language, like the bylaw is available online, we can get it sent to you, and you can have a look at that. So 24 pages
Your life.
of nailing things down to say, okay, this applies and this almost applies and this would apply if. Cause we do wanna provide folks with flexibility, because this is how they want to enjoy their property, and we're not out there. Kyle doesn't have a forestry team going out looking at everyone's chainsaw, asked it, when was that last fired up?
So the overall impact of the bylaw is going to be to minimize the chipping away at our forests in naturally or in sensitive areas.
And the big swells.
Yeah, okay.
So,
yeah, I can kind of give you like a good example that me and Mike keep coming to is what are we missing that's not allowed as a normal, what's our normal rural, what's the one?
Normal farm practice.
No,
the
rural uses.
rural and agricultural living.
Like, what's a
Right, right.
legitimate reason to get rid of that and
Mhm.
what's not? And my family is a huge bylaw nightmare for everything else. So I got lots of good examples, but the one big one is my stepfather loves to, he's up in, say exactly where, the Algonquin area. And he loves to clear trees for view. I just wanna see a better view of
Yeah.
that, so I'll take it this swath here. I wanna see a better view of this. And he's knocking down tons of trees, not for wood, not for any of these reasons. So those are the type of things that we're looking
Yeah.
to get, to say, hey, we can actually do that. There's
Yeah.
no
Huh.
Real reason for it other than I wanna
So
see
you
that way.
can, but there's a process to
Well,
that. So if you're gonna cut down these 25 trees, can you plant 25 over here?
Right.
Or
Mhm.
can you minimize that to 15? Like, how big of a corridor do you really need your view to be?
Can you thin it versus clear it?
Right, exactly. So how can we work with them to
Mhm.
meet the intention of the bylaw and still, and let people live their lives?
Yeah.
It's not to squash people, it's to protect the long-term
Right.
longevity of the life.
This isn't gonna be perfect out of the gate.
No, by no stretch. And that's why it's out for comment for so long. We're going to talk to groups. We're having open house first. We're going to Earth Day. So,
You know what would be great at Earth Day if you could have the GIS
Oh, yeah.
app, and then people can actually see what does that look like.
for sure.
I think that was helpful.
Does that answer your question about process? Or do you
Yeah.
want us to have the time to actually walk through your property? Because we can do that too. Not in
No,
this meeting.
I mean,
but-
I just look at this as someone who, as an average citizen goes online thinking I wanna cut a few trees, I better find out how it works. How easy is it for me to understand this,
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have an asterisk in there. So it's just, please call.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
We'll walk you through it.
Mm.
Moving on, how the bylaw works, so we've talked a little bit about, so the proactive part where you want to do something, you can look at call, we'll walk you through. Yes, no, maybe, or could you possibly over here. The other side is on the back end, so the complaint base, so all of our bylaws typically, same for Kyle, but complaint based, so you see your neighbor and they're cutting down a bunch of trees, call Kyle and say, I have a complaint, he goes out and investigates, and we run through this on the back end. Something he and his staff do every day, so hopefully we can do that.
Hopefully not every day.
Yeah, so for the most part, it's complaint driven, but if we see something that's quite obvious. Oh, that looks like, a clear cut, we will stop and do that, but most of my life is.
Clear cutting from the road is tough to see,
Yeah.
so. Yeah. Cost of a permit, so right now, the legal name for a permit is set at $0, again, we're trying to get buy-in, and it's not about, it's part of the process that we do already, so there isn't really any work for us to do. There would be also back end if we have to go through this actually. The assessment, but that'll get it through on the other side. And so while there isn't a fee for the permit itself, the applicant may need to pay for an environmental study, tree preservation plan, woodland management plan, or for the replacement trees. So we'd rather see the money be put into stuff like that rather than for work we're kind of already doing. Or we can put on the back. If trees are cut without a permit, basically Kyle, actually, Kyle, what you talking about? Yep, well, this is, I kind of wrote this for Kyle.
Yeah, so we're into issuing, actually, I can't remember where we fell because we had so many versions.
Right.
We're into issuing, we decide on an order.
Yeah, you need a work order,
Yeah.
so. So if you do, if you are caught cutting trees without a permit. You may be subject to a penalty notice, so Kyle and his team would go out and issue you a penalty notice. And possibly a work order notice, so the work order notice would say like you have to apply for a permit and you need to replace trees. Somewhere on the property because you've been found to cut more than 5 trees and therefore you owe us 5 trees. That work may require additional study because the trees are gone, so we don't exactly know. So maybe there's an instance where Kyle and his team can say, yep, we see there's 5 stumps here, so we see you cut 5 stumps. But if it's a big area or something like that, then studies would have to be done to say, how much bad did you do? So if that penalty notice is not adhered to, then I'll just take them forward. So right now, a person who has not complied with an order to rehabilitate, replant may be given a penalty notice of up to $300 for infraction. So I've highlighted it here because this is one of the things that I'm most interested in. Hearing from the community about how much. So I can tell you that this is on the very low end of the scale in the jurisdictional scale. That being said, most tree bylaws in Southern Ontario are in Southern Ontario in the urban centers. So being more rural, we are slightly different. So, and this is new and we still have lots of trees, so maybe $300 is appropriate. If you go up to Barrie and you're caught going against their, what's it called, offsetting, ecological offsetting policy, it's over $15,000. City of Peterborough, I think their permit fee is $300, whether or not you're in infraction. So I think this is gonna be a big scale for folks. If you love trees and you say, yep, I want $3 million per tree. And you're someone in your backyard who likes cutting down trees and be like, you know what, 300 is fine. Yeah, I think that's good. Maybe a little less than that. So it's up for debate. It's up for discussion. We don't have to discuss or debate it here, but I'm happy to get your comments. Because it's one of those ones where I sort of played with the scale. We started off with 500 and I kind of knocked it down a little bit.
Jump in here.
Yeah, please.
So just to recap, so we've issued the order, they haven't complied, now we're getting to the penalty. So right at the moment, this puts us in a little bit of a gray area because we would have 2 options. We can go to provincial court, we can go to Superior Court. Superior Court, we're going to get not a penalty, we're going to get some kind of order to restore or something. So when you go to Superior, it's more for correcting the issue that happened, not just getting like a fine.
Monetary.
Yeah, so right now, I think to the next step that we're hoping to get to, it would be through POA. Our bylaw would actually have to get approved by the Attorney General. So we could put a $30 million on it, we could send them, they could say, no, this is cut down to $200, that's crazy. So that would have to be approved through that. The intention for this is at the same time, we have what's called an AMP bylaw, administrative monetary penalty bylaw. So that's a new system that municipalities are now taking on the whole POA process in-house because they've been so backlogged. So this dollar value now, if we end up going through the AMP, if it gets approved and we end up adding this to it, that dollar value is a council approved.
So is per infraction per tree or is it per like cut?
Per tree right now. right?
Per cut.
Yeah.
Like per like.
Per chop.
Yeah, per chop.
I believe we
Per
land on
cluster.
every, we've talked about this a lot, we land on every tree is an infraction.
Yeah.
What if it, when you get to 8, is it 1 cluster plus 3?
Right.
Or is it 2 clusters?
Yeah,
So
Per tree seems
per
good.
tree, yeah.
per tree is sort of the easiest way to do it.
I'm sure there's lots of information out there on the monetary value of trees. and what they give to
Yeah.
us.
Not all trees are created equal.
Find an average.
And lots of opposition to that theory as well.
Yeah. Science, theory,
That'd be interesting, actually.
it's out
It's
there.
a deep dive if you're
Bored.
looking for a thesis.
Oh.
So they only get the fine if they don't rebuild, like replant. So if they.
So they would get the order first to do
Right.
X, if they don't comply with X, then now
Okay.
contravention were issued and penalty.
So if they go and cut down, say, 10 trees, without the permit, and, those trees are covered under this bylaw, then the first step would be you go out and you tell them they have to replant.
Yeah, depending on what we find, so
Okay,
there's a number of ways we could do it, and it's another thing we've been talking about, you can make the contravention rate off and they get the fine. Or you can make that in your schedule, it's you didn't comply with the order, so you get the fine.
okay,
So usually the order is what we want, money's not gonna help.
No.
Environmentally, so we want the corrections we want, so most bylaws we're looking at, what is it that we want done? We want compliance, the money is.
yeah. Now, when you say replant, what are the specifications for replanting? Like, are we talking like seedlings? Talking 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old, like?
And
Because
are
if
you on the
some-
hook for the next 10 years to make sure it grows?
Yeah.
Well, that's so most environmental studies, if you're doing a tree replacement, there's a 3-year, well, it's not longevity, but yeah, that's
Survival rate.
survival rate. So that would be part of it. The easy answer is, yeah, I'm trying to remember if I have that iteration in there. I did define the replanting at one
Mhm.
point.
Because to me, I think that's more important than the dollar, like to your point, the penalty is what are they rehabilitating with? Are
Because, yeah,
they,
seedlings is in the
Right.
cap.
yeah, because if it is just a seedling, then, I mean, they're like 100% reach or whatever, so there.
Yeah, even at that, you have options there, so the penalty can be per day, so every day you're not in compliance with your order. That, if you get that approved, depending on what option you use, the idea is to get the compliance.
Yeah.
It's not just give us $300 and we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was, I don't remember when I read I can't remember
I
now,
think it may have
but I
been,
think that was a question of mine is what's the rehabilitation criteria?
Mhm.
Because I think it needs to be somewhat punitive in that, to the point that, it's costing them money, like to replace it with something that is more mature, but it's not to the point where like they have to bring in heavy equipment and everything to plant these trees, but like something like what they plant in new homes, like those are, I think, 5-year-old trees that they plant down on that.
yeah, it's a caliper size.
Yeah, so that was one of the questions that was in my mind after reading the bylaws, what do they have to, what are the criteria for replanting? What is the criteria for planting?
Yeah, could you, sorry, go ahead, Amanda.
The penalty money should go into our tree program, because that's people coming to us who want to plant trees. So if they don't otherwise get planted, that's a way to get them planted.
So POA, we get a very, very small percentage, most of it goes to the courts, and we know the same
Right, of
anyhow,
course.
and then on
That
the
makes
end,
sense.
it's quite legislative where your
Yeah.
money goes to, so.
Yeah.
There's a way to do that.
Going back to the replanting thing, like you could you put in something like it has to be, a third the diameter of whatever was removed or something to that effect? Like, so you aren't just putting little seedlings in?
I mean,
Or even
up to X, right? Cause
Yeah,
if somebody
of course.
chops down a tree this big, you're not gonna,
But it's some sort of,
Mhm.
give
A
it some sort of
minimum age
proportion.
is Probably
Yeah,
realistic and easy.
because even the trees that we sell at Earth Day, like those are 2-year-old trees. I mean, I wouldn't think that they would be mature enough to qualify as a rehabilitation size.
So
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty,
The bigger the better.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I seem to recall it being the width of the trunk, but. All great comments.
Thank you. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, okay.
Penalties for clear cutting. So right now, again, this is sort of, I think I took it from Niagara. Has occurred where no 50-year trees, so again, if we have like an area or a large number of trees, then the total amount of the special fines will be calculated not less than $50 and not more than $1,000 per tree. So going back to your do all trees count? So I think the courts would end up deciding how this would actually be rolled out. And but it would be a study to say like, you know, we would expect based on the forest and behind, this is what the forest is here. Probably a calculated average of how much trees are worth. And then that special fee would then be sent to us, or most. Hopefully, we never have to face one. In addition to any other remedy, the officer may cause the work to be completed at the expense of the person, so that's the rehabilitation part. So in conclusion, this was built on enacting the objectives of the township's strategic plan, it supports the plan policies. It seeks to protect tree cutting in sensitive areas and regulate tree cutting while not impeding typical rural and agricultural land uses. Yes, that is what we're going to do. Next week. In terms of next steps, I mentioned that there is an open house. On that slide doesn't talk about the Earth Day, but please come out if you want to join the big group. I'll give 2 presentations at that, where basically it'll be a slideshow similar to this. I touched it up for the sustainability committee, but it'll be very similar to this one. So we are gathering public comments, and then I will be reporting back to council, hopefully, after Earth Day, I should have a report done, so May, June, I hope to go back to council, depending on what comments we have so far. And that is the way to comment me, or you can just give me a call or something.
Great, thank you.
We do have some discussion questions, so I alluded to them in the presentation, these just sort of looking at what the highlights are, so. Should we, if asking the question, what can we do, rather than asking, should we have one, I think. Policies in the township say that we should have something, so what can we do, if it's not this, then what? What else should be included in the bylaw, what's the appropriate amount of trees to protect, so that's the cluster of 5, is 5 the answer, that's what's in the official plan, that's where that number comes from. Maybe so, you know what, clusters of 10, clusters of 2, any tree. We don't have the power to do any tree, but, and the appropriate penalty, so that's the other thing, is sort of, if we think 300 is free, or we don't. Clusters of 1. If it's other things else.
The question number 2, what else could be included in the woodland management bylaw? Like, what happens if you step it up a bit and like, say there's an eagle's nest in the tree you took down? Or like, what happens if you're infringing on something like that?
So that would be the Species of Risk Act.
Okay, bad example.
It's just like a wood.
Yeah, a woodpecker.
Yeah, no one, carry on with those, so, do you have a different example?
Well, I don't know, like
Trying to-
sure, you cut down a tree and you just unhoused a bunch of raccoons.
Yeah,
It's
so
never-
there's a lot of things out there that
Yeah.
don't have special criteria, special
Right.
status, so. Raccoons can happily live somewhere else, so they didn't fall, odds are they'd run when the chainsaw came in. Yeah, that's, aside from, cutting down, like you cut down black ash or a butternut tree.
Right.
This doesn't touch on that because that's a species risk issue. And you have.
So they're just covered elsewhere, just kind of what's going on. I can't think of a good
Yeah,
example.
so yeah,
right now.
your, tree cutting windows. I may look into that, so there's, again, if you, in a number of environmental reports, if you're cutting trees in the sensitive area, then you would avoid cutting trees, bat roosting would be a good example. And typically, as long, or nesting times. So if you avoid cutting trees outside of those times, then you're in compliance with those, with the species risk. That's the easiest way to do it. It's a fair comment that I'll look into, but
I'd be surprised if anybody even knew what that was.
Species risk act?
No, like when bats are rooting, like I don't think anybody would take that into consideration when they're gonna chop down a tree.
No,
Right,
but that's why we do studies and find out whether or not you should or shouldn't,
right.
Barn swallows are the other common one that people don't think about, so it's a protected bird that typically lives in barns. People
Maybe reference to such things as worth putting into the bylaw. I don't know if it's already there or not, but kind of.
Like other protections.
Yeah,
the things
like
that
kind of what
maybe
you're,
fall outside of.
exactly, yeah.
Then we have to ask, does the township want to regulate Species of Risk Act?
Who does if we don't?
MNR.
Mhm.
Well, they do it, it's a different.
Mm-hmm.
But that's who is the authority. Right? So do we want to include it or make reference to it, or at least reference that we aren't looking at it, is all worthwhile.
I think just
Do we want to
like,
limit when people can cut down trees for?
I think awareness is more important, like, you know, just be aware that, you know, of these sensitive times. And, you know,
Yeah.
and point to the fact that the MNR is the one. Like,
Maybe that's a good communication.
Public education.
yeah, cause I would never have crossed my mind to think about that. Their time of year.
There's two species that don't be, investigation from.
Like educating.
You see the risk, not a lot of people know, maybe people want to know.
What was the thinking behind limiting this to sensitive areas? Just a simple way to define, you know, if somebody's within or without. I think I'm just curious, if we're talking connectivity, then there's big swaths of woodlands that are outside of sensitive areas. Or
Are
they're
they though?
not.
Yeah, so are they? So if it's a large area
Mhm.
that's on its own.
I'm just, so
How
I'm
are you defining?
picturing GIS, and I'm picturing, you know, where the ANSIs are and where the conservation areas are and all the other things that define whether it's a sensitive area. I'm sure there's swaths of woodlands that are outside of those. Maybe not,
Well, I mean,
maybe not in
west
this
of us,
township
yeah,
actually, because it's so
Where the old
agricultural.
road comes up, and there's gonna be a subdivision there to the west of the original Tower Hill development.
To the west of the original tower. On the south side, on the south.
Yeah,
On the south side.
south,
Yeah.
yeah,
So they're staying out of the development only goes about halfway down. So there are trees in
Yeah.
there, but there's a lot of thinner, I won't call it scrub trees. Whereas your natural areas are in south that they've supported.
So that's the thinking behind it, that it encompasses most of the important forests.
Yes.
Okay.
And
That's
always, looking at everyone's back.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
But if there are certain areas would be like, have you considered this, then let us know, or, and then we'll put it up.
Hop on GIS tonight and do some research.
Yes, yeah, I mean,
I don't think we
Jeff,
promote
we-
GIS enough.
Oh, it's amazing, yeah.
it's, yeah, we live on it
Yeah,
every day.
that was like, I think I was figured for Environment Canada way too long ago, I won't say.
Oh.
Like, probably when you were still in high school.
I think that's a compliment.
Definitely when Mark was probably still.
I'm older than I look actually, honestly.
Okay, so thank you so much, Matt, for this. This was excellent. Just thinking about time, I'm wondering if everyone would be in agreement to send me comments to Matt about the bylaw, and we can wrap it up. And is that okay? Does anyone have anything pressing that they would like to raise? Yeah.
To Chair Bill Fox, just a couple procedural things for the committee. I will want a formal, I will look for a formal motion
Yeah.
just for the committee, because the committee submits the comments as a committee.
Yeah.
The second one is if the committee members are doing any follow-up with staff on this, can you please do it in individual email threads where it's only you? Because we run into a procedural thing if the majority of the committee is talking about something that's been before the committee. So
Thank you.
do it as individuals, please.
Okay. Okay, so anything else pressing that anyone wants to raise? If not, we'll look for Ryan.
Well, I don't know whether I want to open my mouth in this one, but do we actually list suggestions that we've gone through? 'Cause I know you've been jotting them down.
No, please do.
No, I'm sorry, but like right now, like, is that what the
Oh.
committee is submitting to you? The stuff that you've written, like, do you need that in your records?
So I have taken my own notes, and so having a staff, and we also have the formal recording.
Right.
But so I think based off these factors, staff will receive those comments for information.
Okay.
But if there is something that the committee thinks is very important, it can also be included in the motion where we'd have the motion receive the comments for the consideration by staff, but also the committee thinks there should be a $3 million fine for cutting. Sorry, I'm trying to
Yeah, right.
create a non-polarizing example.
No, the comments we've discussed are adequate for what, they don't need to be incorporated into emotions. Where I'm
No.
going, do we just, yes, okay, good.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. Okay, so then we'll look for a mover and a seconder for a motion.
Mover.
Oh, sorry, I wouldn't, yeah.
Do you want me to clarify the motion?
Yeah.
Just before the committee moves and seconds it, the comments of the Sustainability Advisory Committee on the draft woodland management bylaw be submitted for consideration by staff.
Thank you.
Does that sound good?
Sounds good. Moved by Michael, seconded by Mike, and Martha gave it a vote.
Yes, indeed. Amanda Newell,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Conley,
Yes.
Chair Bill Cox.
Yes.
Michael Cole,
Yes.
Mary Preston,
Yes,
and Mike Ryan. Yes, that is carried.
Great, thank you. So we're moving on to item 7.3 now. We'll do this quickly because we brought this up, we discussed this in our last meeting of 2025 and our first meeting of this year, and this is around primarily, I would say, education and awareness, but also understanding the township's current, I don't know what the bylaw or policy is called.
Just.
Okay, thanks, Jess.
I was hoping to have done it by the phone.
No, that's okay.
30 years, I've been one ever since.
Well, thankfully that is here. So just to refresh everyone's memory about the conversation is this kind of stemmed from two things, the drought that we endured over the summer of 2025. And then as well, I think the water main break really emphasized how dependent we are on water and how important it is to be able to, conserve water and use water really for the primary purposes of like drinking, sanitation, etc. During times of drought. So we talked a little bit about what other municipalities do who are local to us and perhaps similar in makeup. And one of the things that we briefly touched on was looking at, you can see this kind of about just a little bit halfway down the page where it says from May 15th to September 15th. Talking about putting in guidelines around things like lawn watering. So this is really to encourage people to be just smart about how and when they're using water, and looking at having perhaps different stages of water usage. And what I mean by stages is this is something that the Conservation Authority already does in terms of monitoring and communicating to the community, but I think a lot of people aren't aware of it. It is looking at like, are we in a drought? Are we like halfway in a drought? And then recommending that we issue a water conservation order. So I think from the committee's perspective, what I'm looking for and what I'd like to see some conversation on is, do we think that considering climate change, considering the growth that's going to be occurring in our community, is now a good time to look at both educating people on where water comes from, educating people on what the Conservation Authority does with regards to monitoring the water levels, and also trying to encourage a little bit of behavior modification with regards to how people are using water during periods where we may be more likely to encounter drought-like symptoms. So what I see in my development, and I realize this may be different across the township, whether you're rural, whether you're in the older part of town, but I see a lot of people watering their lawns, which is, that's fine, that's what they want to do, they want to water their lawns. But can we encourage them to do it at a time and set out some guidelines where they can do it in a way that aids water conservation. So can we encourage them to do it first thing in the morning? Can we encourage them to do it later in the evening? Can we encourage them to say, you only need to water your lawn for 10 minutes at a time? You don't need to put the sprinkler out for half an hour at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because it's all gonna get evaporated. And I see this in many municipalities. Like, I don't think that, from my perspective, I don't think that this is unheard of. I don't think that this is drastic. But I do think that now is a good time for us to talk about it and have a little bit of foresight with regards to encouraging people to conserve water. We'll just open it up for your comments after my long ramble. Amanda?
I think that the odd number, even number situation and a little bit of public education is the absolute bare minimum that should be happening right now. Because this is gonna be a bigger and bigger problem over the years. So if it can get introduced gradually,
Yeah.
that's probably a good idea.
Now, how do you do it for people on their own wells?
That's a really good question.
Like, I get it for within people on the water system.
I
That
don't
makes
think you
perfect
do.
sense.
We'd have to check with Selwyn how they do it, but you'd have to implement it as a fine system again. You can't just randomly add $50 to a thing. Can't have one of our water guys that drive by and say, hey, I thought
Yeah.
72 water and put $50 on it. It's gotta be
Right.
documented, it's gotta be proved, it's gotta be like any other
Yeah.
bylaw thing.
Mhm.
So I would assume you're gonna have we already have a bylaw, and it doesn't have penalties that way. I believe it's an old bylaw, it's like a half pager, and if we're gonna go down one route, we need to do one.
Was it on a typewriter?
Pretty much.
I think Selwyn just does it for users of the
Municipal.
municipal water system. And then to your point, and I think we briefly talked about this, is this like a compliance issue or is it a penalty, like bylaw issue? And I don't know the answer to that, is that I do believe that if there is guidelines out there, if it's a policy and we educate people, like, I believe that there's people out there who will adhere to it.
Mhm.
There's also gonna be people, regardless of if it's a policy or a bylaw, they're gonna do whatever they want anyways. And, while that's really important, I think for the purpose of our committee is making, the ask or the recommendation to you guys to figure out how's the best way to manage this. And like, where does it make sense? Is it only for the users of the municipal water system? Is it for people rural? Like, there's a lot of.
Just cringing at the thought of somebody getting a $50 extra on their water bill. Of course, on water bill.
Yeah, so I think if we're going, what's the point? We're trying to limit water use, whether it comes from our municipal system, which is wells, to efficient wells, the concept's the same. So I think you
Apply it,
apply it across the board, but then are you applying it to ag, like where does it,
yeah,
where there has to be a limit? There have
Yeah.
to be some exemptions, but
I agree, yeah,
just in quick, I do like the time parameters.
yeah,
And those are,
Mhm.
we don't have to prove a duration like you can't. I
yeah,
think we talked about this, we
Mhm.
can't throw in there like maximum 1 hour of watering, because we can't.
Yeah.
That'd be too much
Yeah.
enforcement. You'd definitely be into a new bylaw with set fines, spelling you what you're gonna charge, and you have the details in there.
How smart are the smart meters? Like, can they break it down per hour? Water
Well,
consumption?
technically they could, depends how much we wanna pull from that.
Right.
That tower system that I think. Went to council once, I forget, I think you want to have it can do that, like it can pull it, if the way it works is that would bring in all the information to us continuously.
Right.
So technically, somebody could be there monitoring it, the rest is a drive-by every 2 months, and you pick it up, and then you get 2 months worth of data, so you'd be past the point anyhow.
Yeah, but I mean, within that data, can you see on an hour by hour basis for each house?
You could,
Yeah,
yeah,
you could.
you'd be, if it's possible, I'll say.
I agree. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Mary.
Sorry, Leslie. Well, I was just gonna say that, sort of the first phase really is about education because, as Leslie said, some people are gonna care more about their green lawn, and probably break the rules anyway. But I think it's a cultural change, so education and awareness probably, is step one, but I don't know. I guess it's my question about how do you police it and how do you put in the controls, right?
Yeah, I think that would go back to like the committee making the recommendation for staff to, well, I guess really like Kyle's team primarily to take that away and look at like what the options are. and then-
Complaint driven, right?
Yeah, and then make a recommendation to council, and I do agree, certainly education and awareness is really important, and looking at the drought last summer, we had, like Orca issued the, the drought warning, and then there was the conservation order. And I did see it posted, once on the township social media page. And then I noticed the following week, some of my neighbors were watering their lawn, and that they're great. I'm like, we still have the conservate, like, we're still in a drought, we're still supposed to be conserving water. So they stopped watering their lawns. But I think people don't realize how long it takes to replenish, or how long it can take to replenish the aquifer. And so, I think this comes back as well to education and awareness, just the constant reminders on social media, on the township's webpage. Every few days, like, we're still in the drought, you still have to conserve water. These are ways to conserve water, like doing it in both ways, like we have to help people understand why, it can't just be, don't do it.
Brown is the new green.
Exactly.
Yeah, so in the past, we have done that, we can ramp it up, we can look at, more of a policy on what exactly we do. So just found it's a 2008 bylaw, and we have sent this out before, we've also in communication said we've said there is a bylaw. And it is similar, it's longer than I recall, but it is on even calendar days, only those municipal address ending with 02468. And the problem with this is there's no set fines, so that means that provincial offenses, like going down there, that's the whole thing, so.
What about, is there time windows in the bylaw existing, so only water between 7, I think that's really the most important thing is the time, because if you water in the middle of the day, you're just wasting all that, like, that's all.
Is it always in play or is it only during a low water?
So it's always in play, and then there's other sections such as, we're gonna.
Was it
Outdoor
about
water.
May, June?
Well, that was the regular.
Okay.
Says what you can be watering just in
Yeah.
regular times, and then there's an outdoor water use ban of the Director of Water Wastewater Services. Which we have right now. Nice title. We did back then, I guess. Can,
I mean, this is one of those bylaws that need to come forward again. So you're saying.
yeah, exactly, well, that's what,
Okay.
it's, my plan was to bring this to the committee so you can see it and, kind of suggest what changes you'd like to see. And to get some set fines in there to look at what's going to be paid.
Could we do like a soft launch where like summer 2026 is just education? Summer 2027, we start introducing fines, gives people time to understand,
So do a soft launch with the every other day water
But
only
I think
between.
the bylaws already here.
Yeah.
Bylaw is here.
Just
But I don't think
Just
it's bylaw
let it-
that's time windows in it. So,
No, it's during the months of May, June, July, August, September, each year, no person shall take or use water from municipal water system or permit water from municipal water system to be taken or used for public purposes. Says what dates they can be on and what you can use it for.
It doesn't say you can, it doesn't say you should only water in the morning.
No,
or
it's not
evening.
restricting that section.
I think for that, that's, I think, one thing that I would suggest we could incorporate, because I think that's really
Mhm.
a really helpful thing you can do, because if you water your lawn in that later in the day,
I would say either way, we.
yeah. you want to
Bylaw
treat it.
2008 is pretty old,
Yeah.
so to bring, even to find it. For
Okay.
us, is with our records is, we'd probably bring something back with some new titles, new fines, new everything if we're interested.
There definitely are some considerations if we haven't been enforcing the bylaw also for a protracted period of time, and then we just decided to arbitrarily return to it, so I think, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to refresh the process.
So our committee doesn't meet again until July. What are our options for getting something in place for this summer?
July.
So there might be a way for it, just because this is being discussed and this is committee business, I think if staff are prepared to, just to correct you, by the way, Leslie, June, next meeting is June.
Okay.
But if there's a desire, if staff are ready to discuss or consult on a update or whatever the desired process is for the bylaw going forward, we could hold a special meeting of the committee just to discuss that one specific item. We would have conversations on staff process and we talk to you as a chair to determine what would be the best path going forward. I wouldn't want to have a discussion for this outside the committee
Yeah.
necessarily because it's become a little bit of a piece of the committee agenda. So.
That's fair.
So is it fair that I circulate this in the meantime?
No,
And
100%.
then going to Mike's comment, we can look at more of the education component now and then at a subsequent meeting, we can look at. Well, I want to get comments and start a draft of a new.
And what other bylaws are out there? We don't know.
Okay, that works. Is there a motion, Mark, that we can say that staff will, or we just wanna?
For now, it doesn't seem like there's any sort of action point or
Yeah.
anything for the committee, so the committee discussed the bylaw and that's what
Okay.
it discussed water conservation and
Yeah.
possible communications and other policy approaches and
So Kyle will circulate and then we can touch base to see if we want to have a special meeting based on, your kind of timelines and.
Yeah, I think like if we're gonna go with just education, that type of thing, I think June still will be fine, because I
Okay.
you'll have a copy of it for comments, and then in June we can have them all through.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't think we really promoting water conservation, the bylaw as is, it's, we can reference, we have a bylaw, so people
Yeah.
know. And then we can get it better.
Okay. And then we can look at tweaking it for next year for I know I keep mentioning the time windows, but I just feel like those are so important. As a cultural shift to get people to.
It is still enforceable, it's just not the.
Yep.
What we'd like for
Okay,
an ideal, you know.
thank you. Anyone else have anything else before we move off of that? No? Okay, moving into our work plan and. Yeah, so.
I just have Jess here, I don't know if
Yeah.
everybody knows her. Are we able to do the round of introductions?
Oh, please, go ahead.
So Jess Cocker Loney, she's helping me with a lot of our initiatives, she's helped me over the years. We've been here now, she was summer student years ago.
Two rounds of summer student, moved to the UK 3 years now, 4.
And it's like more, like he's been here 3 already, long time, I don't know. She's helped me on the energy side, energy reporting and all kinds of stuff like that. She's now jumped in for the Boulevard Garden research. She's been trying to contact the municipalities that have them in place, but no return calls, no return emails, so she's having a bit of a struggle there, but that's been helping me with a lot of the initiatives, which you probably know. Yeah, I don't know if everybody could quickly just introduce themselves, so Jessica, no, too young.
I'm Leslie. We met when you first came in the room. Moved to Millbrook 5 years ago. And
Taking the place by storm.
yeah,
Matt, so.
We sit next to each other.
We're the tree.
now you finally know who to say. Yeah.
I've been wondering.
Just very old.
I'm Amanda Newell and I live at the very north edge of Cavan Monaghan Township on Hayes Line. I've lived there for about 10 years with my family. I'm the executive director for Northumberland Land Trust. And I'm super into this tree stuff.
I'm Michael Cole, I guess a resident 3 years of Millbrook now, just live right downtown there on King Street, a couple of houses from the post office. Yeah, I don't really do anything environmental for work. I'm a chief risk and compliance officer for a software company, so I basically get to tell people they're doing something wrong all day, which is great.
I guess I'm Mark, the deputy clerk. I tell people when they're doing something wrong procedurally. Otherwise, planning staff know who I am, so.
Mary.
Mary Preston, I've been a resident for about 13 years. I don't have a professional background in environmental issues, but I've worked with schools to regreen and create outdoor classrooms before, and love this community because I think most people are concerned about preserving the environment. So yeah.
Chris.
Hi, Chris.
I'm assuming you know Chris?
Yeah.
I'm Mike Ryan. I moved to King Street West in 2019. I'm a writer and work in the nonprofit world part-time. And I do not have an environmental background, just a very healthy concern for the future. So.
Hi, Jess.
Hi.
Thanks for doing that. Yeah, so Jess is here to talk to us about, one of our proposed programs for 2026, which is our Boulevard, program. So I thought we would start with that. Sorry, out of our work plan, and then we'll save all the birthday stuff for last.
That's why just trying to contact Barry well. Persistently. So I've sent some emails, depending on follow-up, and one, they keep putting me through to voicemail, but I'm very persistent. So I'm optimistic that I will get through, and I think what they have on their website is great. I'm just trying to dig in more to like the background, like the operational side of it, like what do you wish you had done differently, what worked really well, what would be better if, things like that.
I think those are really good questions and helpful questions.
Yeah, it's usually hard to get. Some areas are good with bylaw getting back to you, but a lot of times they don't wanna. It's
Yeah,
almost like they don't, like, we've done some mistakes, we don't wanna get in there.
or just as not, their days get out, like,
It's busy.
get out of control and yeah. So are you thinking that this will be a policy or how, right now, how are you guys planning on?
Yeah, I think we're gonna let that, try to do it very similar to theirs.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
we've got, Director of Public Works to get, his buy-in, he doesn't foresee any issues, like
Great.
some of the stuff they spelled it there, they.
Good job.
Need to put everything down. Like they've addressed, they've gone through, right, it's got this, the concerns you have, the salt killing something, they address that, heights, they address, sight lines, they address, like. It, to get a hand of people who want to do this stuff, aren't people who are just,
Yeah.
Don't care.
Exactly, they
So
care.
I. Really foresee any issues, so.
So just a quick question on that, clarification on this is, are we going to be ready to sell Boulevard boxes in Earth Day? Because as part of, you may not know this, but one of our programs is, we're gonna be selling pollinator packs on Earth Day, so it's a package of 10 plants. And it's location based, so whether you're planting in the sun or the shade. And we had also, thought about putting one together for Boulevard, so plants that would survive in the Boulevard. So I'm just wondering
The
if
policy will be ready.
Okay.
It's gonna take
we should
some
probably
time.
scratch that
I
then.
don't, I think we can still sell them as a boulevard, because there's lots of boulevard areas, where they could go up. Right now, we're not gonna, if we have somebody go ahead and plant there, we'll take a look at it, it's a good. Even though we don't have a policy to deal with it, we're not gonna go ahead and say you can't do that, because
Okay.
we're looking at it, and
Okay,
if it doesn't become an issue, it becomes an issue, so.
okay,
I think for now, we'll just sell them as this is the type of thing that
Yeah.
survives near the road, we're
Okay.
looking at this. We're
Okay.
looking into a policy, please, deal with it.
I'm just thinking people in the high end who want to purchase one,
Yeah.
that would be helpful.
And if we're looking into this, if it goes there right now, we're not, technically,
Yeah.
it's our area, but I mean, people cut the grass on our boulevards all the time,
Yeah,
we're thankful for that, so let's plan things, I don't think we're gonna have an issue.
okay, that's great. Does anyone have any questions or anything they want to mention about Boulevard Gardens before we move on? Okay, thanks Jess for trying to
Thank you.
sort all this out for us. Okay, so, jumping into our work plan, I thought we could just quickly run through, a program base update, and then we can jump into Earth Day, because that's, I think, where the bulk of our remaining conversation will come to around. Yeah, so anyone else want to?
The community pre-care bill clocks, just for the community to know, so I've updated the work plan to kind of reflect the 2026 projects that were approved with the allocated budget, so it's been given a complete overhaul. If it looked a little strange to you, but then if the committee has any comments about individual projects that need to be added or something, please let me know.
No, it looks great, it's smart.
Sorry, Jess.
Sorry, I kind of jumped in, usually you do the work plan updates, do you wanna? I just wanted to-
Go for that,
Okay.
okay, good.
That's why I brought the cookies, so.
So yeah, Rain Barrel, the plan is to order those for delivery on Friday, maybe Thursday, just to make sure they get there.
Okay.
We're gonna go through the whole Earth Day event, but Chris Mize. I think Chris' plan was terrible, right? Is to have them delivered to the back of the CMCC. So bring some out onto the floor, but on Earth Day, they'll go around to the back to pick them up, so they'll all be delivered.
Okay,
So that I'm not running a truck back and forth.
Yeah.
Whenever we decide to store them. So that is, I think we're gonna order them all.
yeah,
Might as well, that way we're not dealing multiple orders, anything left over, we got areas to store. Tree planting. Pine Needle is good with kind of our, different concept this year of taking all the orders and then doing one custom.
Great.
They just want to know what species we're looking at.
okay,
So we're good to go there. Going to put a deposit down on that as well. Our neighbor garden bundle and full of our garden, well, that's just a program. Yeah, so we've sent payment book to secure the pollinator packs.
Yeah.
So that's good to go. There's sustainable initiatives, $900 for educational material.
I think that was intended to be for the Boulevard Garden. So, I don't know.
So my only, I know Mark, and you wanted it specific for that. Usually I prefer to keep that more general, just in case it runs, say we end up only using 200, then we can say, yeah, we can utilize it for other things. If the intention is there, it doesn't really matter either way.
You could use it for the watering times too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
I think my question to Mark was, this is the way we had it set out in the motion and then in the presentation, so I just wanted to have everything be consistent, but whatever works, whatever you guys tell me is okay, I'm good with.
Just for the committee, this is consistent with the budget motion. It was a total pot of $15,000. I hope I have the right number, for sustainable community initiatives with the individual programs identified. So this is consistent with that.
More smart. Communication, well, do we want to go over communication materials? Specifically?
No, let's wait till we get into Earth Day, but I think we're almost done.
You want to talk about it?
That's next.
Wow, so.
Yeah.
Chris, I and Bridget, met, we went down to the CMCC to kind of go over the whole layout. You drafted that email, that was perfect, with the big question, so. There's going to be the township staff meet and greet the same night, it's going to be in the hall, so in the big room, as you walk into it, right? Concept is going to be, Bridget's going to be at the door, handing out the passport, so she's kind of developed that. That you can get your stamps from all the vendors. And handing them an order form for the trees, the rain barrels and the pollinator packs. You then make your way down through the ramp and head onto the floor, so we're getting the whole floor, thanks to Chris. We're kind of foreseeing it as the first, I won't say 3/4, the far blue line there will be blocked off, so it's from the far blue line this way. So that it's not just sprawled
Yeah,
and
not so
empty,
bad.
yeah, so
It's a big area.
Yeah, that's, I drew it like a little map and I'm like,
Perfect. Yeah, so, and that's kind of what we're thinking, some
Yeah.
stuff in the middle, so we'll have turtle guardians, they'll be kind of interactive, we're gonna be able to bring the EVs in,
Yeah.
so we just need an idea from them of how many they're going to need.
Yeah.
Along the south wall is where all our people who need power are gonna be.
okay, that's helpful, so when you face the arena, that would be on the left side, no.
When you're
Looking out onto the arena penalty box side,
Yeah. East side.
East
East
side.
side, so it's gonna be on the east side,
East side, yeah.
okay, so then it will be on, when you walk in, that'll be on your left hand side.
left hand side.
Yeah, okay.
First has a cool little pulley system. There's a wheel light
So that's where we can
power.
get the most power, so we have a power pack that we can pull out
Okay.
to center ice and then run off that,
Okay.
anybody that needs power.
So this is a couple entrances onto the floor, they're all accessible.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have a few setups for some tables for people to fill out their forms, kids can play. I know we're gonna talk about maybe the school at the end, cause I didn't think we touched on that yet, we were thinking there. So yeah, the concession booth. Is where we're gonna be able to take payment, so we can do all payment there.
Okay.
Pay by card, pay by whatever they want there.
So when then you envision them taking their order form to the concession booth? And then- And then,
Reception.
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 Yeah.
okay, so we might still have, hopefully not a big lineup, but, are we able to take cash as well at the booth? Okay, so we're gonna do all forms of payment, like cash, debit, and credit.
Yeah.
Just 3% surcharge, credit. It's part of the
Okay.
thing here, so. So they will get, and I forget how much you guys know, so we're looking at, the passport that we talked about last time. And you go around, gotta get them all stamped, it's gonna be hopefully
Yeah.
seed paper.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so they're gonna bring that, they're gonna fill out their name and everything, and they're gonna get entered in a draw to win. Do 3 draws, I think, it's kind of a concept, one for a rain barrel, one for a tree, and one for a pollinator pile.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we can, compost all those. The order form won't be, it's kind of too much money, and you need to keep those as a record anyhow, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 there,
Yeah,
looking pretty sharp.
yeah, so Bridget, brought forth 2 suggestions, can I, sorry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hop on.
Bridget brought 2 suggestions, the book, this is a bookmark that you're looking at. And it's smaller than her initial suggestion, which was a postcard size. Both are seed paper. I think she priced out a quantity of 500, that's probably a lot more than what we need. So, the plan is, we hand these out, people take them around, get them stamped. Do we want the full thing stamped? Do we wanna say, you gotta, I think we're up to like 17. Partner tables now, well, yeah, 17 or 18 tables. So do we want them to visit everybody, or do we want to say visit 10 tables and get entered into a draw? And then the plan is to plant these after, so our committee would basically decide, like, have a conversation and figure out where we wanna
Mhm.
plant them, and we could have, Bridget was saying we could have a little sign, like,
That's fine.
sustainability committee.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I misunderstood the intent, because I was like, well, how's it gonna work if we need to keep them to do the draw, but then,
Once they're drawn, they're done.
yeah, so we'll plant them. So I guess that's the one question that I have for the committee, out of my many questions I have for you guys today is, do we think it's reasonable to ask people to visit like 16, 17 booths to get a stamp, or do we wanna say visit 10 booths or 10 partner tables and enter for a draw? And then when do we want to do the draw? So that's a double question for you.
Could you tier the draw, like 10 gets you the rain barrel,
Oh, you
15
like
gets
to
you.
complicate things. That's a great idea, but come on.
Just talking to Bridge, I have foreseen like 10, because you don't want people going up to the booth just to be like, hey, can you stand?
Yeah.
That's what it is, damn, yes. Buddy, you want to go to ones that you're actually interested in,
Exactly.
so I thought 10 or like
Yeah.
a percentage.
Yeah, I
is
think
good.
that's a good
That tier
idea.
is not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, but I think it's hard, because if we collect them all, then you have to like sort them. I just,
We have 3 different boxes.
Yeah, I think he's volunteering to take care of that.
To the committee, I want to be clear, this is not a lottery because there's no entry fee associated with it, but it's somebody that does give
there's no
advice
purchase necessary.
Yeah. on games of chance. I would just keep it simple rather than spelling out the tiering thing. So just if you get 10 or something, just put it there, don't make it.
But nobody asked you.
That's my take, you guys say.
I think, my vote would be just to do 10, because I want the interactions to be meaningful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
what are your thoughts, Mary, and the mics, Michael's and Mike, sorry.
Yeah, I think more than 10. I mean, it is about also policing it too, and I agree.
Okay, so we'll just keep it at 10, and then we have our 3 prizes, and I think we're gonna, yes,
I'm sorry, before we move on from the passport, 10, I agree with, but a separate issue, and I mentioned this to you briefly, but I like the idea of people taking this home. So I know that creates a layer of, someone's got to take a name down, but if you're gonna have seed paper, I want people to bring them home and plant them in their own yard. And I want them to take that home, remember who they talk to, you know what I mean? I want this to be like a take home thing, especially for kids. I think it's really cool if kids have a seed paper that they can put in a little garden and watch it bloom.
so
over
do we just
the.
rip off the bottom?
As I was
Yeah.
saying, just attach the
Yeah,
one.
That typically what you do, like a stuff ticket for not a lottery.
I mean, I'm fine with that. It's all seed paper, so.
We could just say, if you wanna keep it, take it home, if you don't wanna keep it. we'll-
Yeah.
That's a good point, yeah.
Okay, so are we, no, I just wanted to point out to the committee that the bookmark is quite small. It's a bookmark. So it's hard to see the logos. My preference of talking to Bridge was to do the postcard and maybe have a smaller quantity, like maybe do a quantity of 150. I don't know if I think that's adequate or not. We could have a backup plan that if we run out, then we can just print some off here to replenish, and there wouldn't be seed paper. Cause I think the doing like 500 postcards was quite costly, it was about $1,300. Yeah,
I think now you're like, oh, those logos look legible, but your picture, that
Yeah.
it is a little tough.
and that was one thing that Bridget cautioned us on, is that it's hard to see.
Would it be better if we just put the names next to the stamp instead of the logo? Much easier to just read text. I know it's not as
Yeah.
exciting to look at, but
Just don't have the green circle and use the logos as the thingy mark. Use the
Yeah.
marker.
That's a good idea.
You make them a bit bigger.
Okay. We've had some, well, we had one meeting with, Bridget, and then Mike as well joined us, to talk about communications. So I expect when Bridget gets back, we'll have kind of a final.
Yeah, she's gotta get more pretty
Yeah.
quick when she gets back.
So this is helpful to have the committee's input around, how we can make this work within our budget, and then, so I think what I'm hearing is, we like the bookmark. Maybe we can just use the logos and, have tables stamp right on the logo, or they can even stamp on the back,
Mhm.
just get 10 stamps.
Yeah, I think if you remove that green, you get double
Yeah.
the size of the logo, so
Yeah.
that might be good, yeah.
And then if people want to keep it, we can just rip off the bottom, or they can just rip off the bottom, drop it in the box, and they can take the rest of the bookmark home.
Yeah.
Would that work, Mike? Do you think that's?
yeah, I just like the idea of people taking it home.
Yeah,
That's good,
okay, good. Okay, so that was just one of many things. Well, we actually just confirmed the draw prize for that. So that's good. And then we confirmed that we're gonna do seed paper. We confirmed method of payment. Sorry, I know you guys can't see my list, but all the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. And are we gonna have a limit on pollinator packs? Because we have a limit of 5 on trees. We have a limit of 2 for rain barrels. Do we think it's necessary to put a limit on the pollinator packs? Because we have,
What are they, like $40 a piece?
yeah,
I don't think people will
That'll
be
be-
buying too many multiples of that, but you never know.
Probably
Maybe 2.
yeah. Because I think we're doing 80, like we're doing,
Oh.
we're 150, sorry. 80 is the cost, so we're doing
Yeah.
150.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's gonna walk out of there with 5 of them.
No.
You know.
I mean,
Who
You
knows?
just never know. She needs to
You
limit
can have no more
herself.
left in your property.
Don't be stuck watering.
yeah, well, we're only gonna,
Yeah.
right, we're doing the same thing again this year, where we're taking payment and we're just placing order for what, people have purchased.
3?
I was
Sure.
thinking 3, yeah.
Okay, so just because we didn't set there's not a notifications, okay, so we'll do a limit of 3. And Mark, do we have the tree posters included?
Yes, we do. These are the ones you were talking about?
Yes, so Bridget put these together, and remember, this is what I was gonna get you
Yeah.
to check. Just to make sure we have the appropriate tree photos,
I got a couple comments on this one if you want.
yeah. We're-
Okay, your tulip tree,
Yeah.
good fun fact. Talks about a white spruce.
Oh,
What's Bruce usually is fun fact?
It's because it's not. The tulips will be cool. That's.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say too is like, there's a couple, you talk about the diameter of them, it's in like 263 centimeters.
Yeah, I have to go through
I
it.
do like 2.6 meters.
So just look at the format
Okay,
and the information presented, and we do have to,
I won't get too picky then.
no, be picky, but we do have to validate everything that's on here, which I haven't done yet. So we have to validate the picture, we have to validate the size, everything to make sure that nothing was lost in translation. So we're thinking about, I think right now, yeah, and
Information.
My mind.
Cool, me too.
What was
yeah,
the cool
we're
fact?
on
Sorry.
poster.
The leaf on the back of a penny.
Yeah.
A penny is the second one.
Really?
Maybe
Who knew?
they grow opposite to each other,
Yeah.
and the second one is alternate.
There you go.
And I gotta go look at my penny.
Fact in there.
Now you gotta
Yeah,
find a penny.
yeah.
Nobody can check it, fact check on who's a penny.
So this was the poster we ended up going with, because we thought that this was the one that was the clearest.
Yeah.
And Bridget, right now in her quote that she did up for us, she has us printing just 2 of these posters, so there is 2, because we have pen species for sale, so there'll be 5 on each poster. But my thought was, we wanted to hang them up in several places within the venue, so we don't have both lining up, you know.
Asking 1,000 questions.
Yeah.
You're talking like Bristol board size. right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think, I forget what size she said, she said they were poster size, so I'm assuming Bristol board size. We will have pine needle there as well, so when they come in, we can direct them to the pine needle farm table to go and speak to them about specific questions around the species that we're selling.
Mhm.
And then this was the other version of the poster that we didn't feel was as clear as the initial version. First version marked that up. So my,
And the QR codes all over it, kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
Bridget's just gonna do the one at the bottom. Can you go back, Mark, to the, sorry, yeah, so this is the one we're gonna go with, we're just gonna have the one QR code at the bottom. There's gonna be 2 posters with the 10 species. And I'm suggesting that we hang these up in at least like 4 different places within the venue. So we would need 4 copies of each poster, basically. If there's any, we will go through and fact check all of this and validate that it's all correct. Amanda will make sure the pictures are the right picture. But if there's anything else that you think is missing, like we tried to be very clear about, these are the trees that are available, you can only purchase 5, this is the price. We didn't include anything about pickup because we don't know when that is yet. So we could say something on here like pickup TBD, like to be determined. Or we could maybe look to Pine Needle to say what they think a reasonable pickup date would be and include it on here.
Yeah. They'll give us, and they'll say probably approximately 2 weeks, I guess, what they said.
Like it.
Great,
Good.
good,
Can you just send them to me?
I will, yeah, no problem. So if we could just,
Should I point out the rogue circle up at the top?
I think that's part of the branding.
Bottom there too.
Oh, yeah.
So any comments you guys have on anything to do with communications? Maybe send them to Bridget and copy me and Kyle and Chris.
You making Mark nervous?
Yeah.
No, Mark's okay, very confident.
Uncovered its bylaw.
And then we can just make sure everything's ready for Bridget when she's back, we'll need to order all this right away. So if there's anything you think is missing, anything else you'd like to see, any suggestions, send it over, and do we really want to,
Question, are people able to order if they are not in town on that day?
that was one of the things I had on my list, a great question. How long do we want to keep the ordering window open for?
So what we were thinking is they had to come in and pay for them, that's the key
Yeah.
thing.
So could we say, like, come to the township before April 30th?
Yeah, I think 2 weeks, roughly
Yeah,
is what I was saying,
Okay, does that sound reasonable?
Would you like come to the office? Like-
Yeah, come here, yeah, just to get payment, because the issue we had there last year was people put in the orders.
But are we saying that, like, are we saying there's a limited number? So like,
Yes,
so if you aren't there and they're all gone, too bad. so
Subject
sad, right?
to all quantities.
Yeah, subject to quantities, right?
we're gonna
'Cause-
say limited quantities,
Right, because you don't want somebody showing up the last day and then, oh,
yeah,
what about my tree?
yeah. And I don't think we should order anything else until like this all clears and we see what we're left over with. And then you guys had the idea of potentially doing another kind of sales event at your movie night in August. I think that was, I don't know whose idea it was, but it was a good idea.
I think we talked about if there were leftovers.
Yeah.
Like if we don't sell the
Unclaimed.
700 trees, then we would do another.
Yeah, claimed.
That was Chris's idea.
Great idea, Chris. Have a cookie. Floor plan, we're gonna work on the floor plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to give everybody a quick update on the partners who are attending. I did send out an email a couple weeks ago, but we've had some more people confirmed, so I'll just go through quickly so everyone's on the same page, and I can send this out to you all in email if you'd like to have a copy. So we're having the Repair Cafe, Green Up, Cork Land Trust, Conservation Authority, Clean Up Peterborough, who is Steve Pauls, who attended one of our committee meetings last year. Farms at Work, Baxter Creek Watershed Alliance for our grandchildren, EV Society. I need to confirm with Robert how many EVs he's going to bring. The library is attending, and Christina Rennick, Honeybees, Pine Needle. Did Woodley confirm?
Yes.
Okay, so Woodley's coming. The farmers market?
Farmers market.
I saw their logo.
Because I saw the logo, but I know that Lisa had connected them, but I didn't know if we actually got a yes from them or not, so we need to confirm. Yeah, she's on vacation.
Okay.
Yeah. The Turtle Guardians, the worm composting. And then I'm assuming that we're gonna have a committee table.
A committee too?
Yeah, like we did last year.
Yep.
And then you guys already addressed this earlier when you gave the update, but I had thought staff were gonna be on the arena floor. But we're saying you don't
We're
want
gonna
to
be in the hall.
In the
Yeah,
hall.
yeah, we'll be in the hall.
Okay.
We don't want.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You're thinking just how much we fill the area.
yeah, I was thinking for how much we fill the area, and then also just to make sure people come talk to you guys. Okay, like.
They're gonna.
I was admitting myself anyway.
I mean. the committee
I set up
members-
a cluster of trees. to the-
Okay. No.
You're gonna be. We talked about this.
Counter.
Because you're going to.
Yeah.
I guess you could
Touch
be
it.
I want you down the Earth Day. Okay. Yeah.
Look at him, he's like.
I know,
Oh, I do want to gather input, but
okay,
I think you'll just get better feedback and you'll get
it'd be
more
like
people.
it'd be like collecting meeting invites, like coming and talk about specific houses back in. Which is fine.
Yeah.
As opposed to like the big picture. What are our issues?
okay, and then, I apologize, I should have sent out my list to everybody, so you guys had it, so you know what I was looking at, so that was rude of me,
This is fine.
okay. The only other thing that I wanted to get confirmation from is, two things actually, who will monitor the sales quantities of things?
Make
Because,
sure we don't go over.
yeah,
Yes, we're gonna have. Talk to Jesse. We're gonna have Nicole, who works at the CNCC, is
Okay.
gonna take a payment. And we're
okay,
going to give her at least one, hopefully two people.
okay,
One to, because there's a bunch getting receipts, there's a bunch running back and forth to get receipts.
okay,
There's keeping the quantities in check, and
Yeah.
a few jobs there, so we're hoping to man and two other people there.
okay, okay.
So like my kind of question today was who all from the committee was planning on coming.
I know, like, I will be there, for sure. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet.
What are the hours again?
It's 12 to 4. I know you have a birthday.
Yeah, I think it goes till 2:30, so I can come for the tail end.
If you like, you can, but no pressure.
I mean, it's 10 8-year-old boys, so
Yeah,
it
they're gonna
might
wanna
be
get
dead.
it, yeah.
We'll see.
I'm maybe looking forward to getting away.
I will be in Ireland, so I will be unable to attend.
Oh.
Cool.
Can you get like the first part maybe?
Yeah. Can you video it?
I'll just jet home for the day. It's very environmentally sound.
Like Lisa will be monitoring the table. Mary's attending.
Yep,
Michael, are you available to attend?
Not sure at this point, to be honest with you, so. I'd like to come, and last year I did, but you know, I don't know for the entire 4 hours or not, because. Came with my kids and that only lasted for
Oh,
Yeah.
for
as,
sure.
as long as they did, so,
Okay.
yeah.
That's a yes.
Ryan, can you be around?
I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you might just mainly be.
Bring it to
Yeah.
work.
But I'm like, you know, able to multitask.
Yeah, we got bridge too.
And bridge, yeah.
But she
Yeah.
might have a negative, because she'll just talk to everybody.
Leslie, I had a question like 12 to 4, but what I mean, will we need volunteers to come a little earlier if possible?
Yeah, I mean, I've,
Takedown.
yeah, I was planning on coming, like arriving by 10:30, so I can, you know. Just help everybody set up and if anybody needs anything.
Yeah, I can be there at 10:32 or whenever.
You're gonna have a couple extra.
So,
staff.
yeah, we'll bring in a couple extra staff too, that'll be around to assist
Okay.
with setup, takedown
Okay.
and anything going on in
That's
between.
fine. Last year
think-
they were really helpful, like Adam was really helpful.
Yeah, that's good. So one thing we will need ahead of time though is like a tables and chairs
Yes.
count from all our
Yes.
vendors, cause we don't have enough in the facility, we'll have to
So
grab them from other place.
Yeah, I think I counted like we needed like 22 tables. And then chairs, but I will get you a firm, because I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple of vendors. So I'll get you a firm count and then we'll do the floor plan. Now that I know where people who need power need to be. And I guess the only thing is, we're gonna be directing everybody to reception to pay. So they'll take their order form there and they'll get their receipt, and then your team will be tracking quantities, so we don't have to worry about, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. So I think that'll be really helpful, because last year the committee table, like Bridget and Amanda and myself. We were trying to enter orders and help people like answer questions and help people pick what they needed. And I feel like this year we've done a really good job of getting more prepared. With regards to, like, we're gonna have Pine Needle there to help people pick the appropriate tree for their property. We're gonna have Christina there. She can help people, you know, figure out what pollinator pack is the best one to buy. You guys have a plan for the rain barrels.
Tell them which one's the best.
Yeah.
We're all the same.
Yeah. So my last point is actually on rain barrels we had talked about branding for rain barrels. What, are we gonna put a sticker on them, or we are not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
do that,
Right
or?
with that.
No, Bridge, I think we should tap another. She got got, okay, I'll recheck
Okay.
on, that's just,
I mean, you know,
Follow up with
yeah.
Bridget.
And I think that's it. For the things that I wanted to run by the committee. So it leaves us, so right now we just sort of build on Kyle's financial update, so we have about $1,500 dollars left for communications for Earth Day. And I think Bridget's given us a good breakdown of what we can have and, you know, what the options are there. So if you have any other feedback about ways to reach the community, anything around process, anything about day of, let's have it. If you think of anything, send off an email. But I feel like we've definitely, you know, put a lot of thought into trying to make the process smooth and efficient this year for people attending.
Is it on the monitors in the CMCC?
Not yet.
We put on the road signs today,
Mhm.
so it should be out there now
Okay.
anyways, yeah. The 2 road signs have it, I'll have to double check the monitors, but I'm not sure
When
if that's
else
there
was
yet.
we, yesterday?
Yeah. Well,
Seen it a
maybe,
couple times.
I feel
yeah,
like
so if it did go
it's
on,
not
then
on.
yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
I'll check when I go back there.
Okay, and then my last, I promise this is my last thing unless I think of something else, but
Oh, there's a get out of jail clause.
Smith and left. Oh my God, I was just doing my brain work. I'm so sorry. Food, like. We haven't talked about food, and I kind of had a panic, not a panic, but the other night I'm thinking, it's from 12 to 4. Are people gonna expect that they can buy food, or we're gonna have food? Like, should we have food? Do we have food? I don't know.
We're gonna contact and have a concession in there, so if
Okay,
they do
great.
want something, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Takes care of that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's,
Session, not reception.
Yeah,
yeah.
concession.
You know, you're bringing a site microgreens person, so they sit there and nibble. Go.
And then, is Woodley Farm gonna bring anything? I know, I said I was the last thing, and then here I keep going. Is Woodley Farm gonna bring anything to sell? Cause I know they have their maple syrup,
So
flowers.
I'm still waiting on his response to see what all he's
Okay.
doing, because I don't have to do the biochar.
Yeah.
He's got the sap thing he's into now too, or the sap water.
Okay.
So he's Just waiting to get it, you know, him doing what always bring.
Okay.
Moonshine.
So it sounds like we will for sure have myself and Mary in attendance. Lisa will be there, but she'll be at her Farms at Work table, and then Ryan, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Are any other members of council coming? Do you guys know? Will they be with the meet staff or?
So they're not in, like, they're not
Okay,
as staff, they don't have a table.
Yeah.
They'll probably attend, but.
okay,
Tend to be under.
all right,
Well,
great. Okay, I think that's it. Does anyone have anything else?
Are you sure that's it?
Yes. Yes. We gotta wrap this up quick before I do come up with something else.
we should be going on to number 8. It's a,
Oh, sorry.
So we've applied for, so we secured the one part of funding, so we're,
Okay.
it's about 14,000 for that energy demand
Oh.
management for Atlantico to do, of course. We've applied for the other half
Okay.
of the, not other half, but the remaining, so we are hoping to get that fully funded.
Thanks.
That's
Yeah.
excellent.
Done.
Yeah, that was excellent. Okay, so, does anyone have anything else on the work plan before we? No, okay, good. So Mark, I'm gonna go with the motion. So I'm gonna move on a second around a motion for the committee to receive the updates to the work plan. Moved by Amanda, seconded by Michael Cole, and then Mark will do a recorded vote.
Mary Preston,
Yes,
Michael Ryan,
Yes.
Amanda Newell.
Yeah.
Michael Cole,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley,
Yes.
and Chair Bill Cox.
Yes,
That is carried.
perfect. And then, motion to move for adjournment. And then seconded for that. Moved by Mike Ryan. I'll second by Amanda Newell, and then Mark will do a recorded vote.
Deputy Mayor Huntley.
No.
Keep going.
That is recorded, just for the record. Bill Cox.
Yes.
Mary Preston,
yes.
Michael Cole. Mike Ryan,
Yes.
Amanda Newell.
Yes.
Hopefully that is carried.
Excellent.
Mark was sweating there. I don't know what to do. What happens if it gets defeated?
Thank you, everyone, very much. Great meeting. Appreciate your time. Thanks for joining. Thank you for
Yeah,
coming
that's
as well, Jen.
But Mary, if you grab that guitar and sing a
A
sing.
lot.
Yeah, not me. That's not mine. I could torch you with a banjo, but I don't really play it, but you wouldn't know.
What kind of guitar is that?
People buy.
Do you know?
Totally. Yeah.
Just a regular
Acoustic.
guitar, acoustic guitar. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to end this, just end the live stream.